are the greatest organisms that to our current knowledge this universe has ever seen. Through all our faults, through all our foibles and shortcomings, humanity remains currently the most advanced species overall that we know.
That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
The only species we're aware of that has ever reached another world. And therein will lie one of the salient reasons why Christianity is an insult to mankind. For all Christianity's self-righteous calls to love and declarations of morality and virtue, which have no doubt been on display throughout the centuries, one wonders why, in light of such positivity, it must resort to the use of threats, the main threat of which I reference is all too well known. Why must a religious faith that claims to be holy insult humanity by treating mankind as a virtual slave? The threat of eternal damnation in hell is nothing short of the slave master using the threat of whips and capital punishment to compel obedience, conformity, and acceptance. The Christian idea of hell is the equivalent of God saying, "Believe in me or else." The equivalent of God saying, "Sure, you have a choice, but if you choose wrong, you will pay," which pretty much means you have no choice if you wish to avoid pain and misery. Christianity is a further insult to mankind, as man's intellect is mocked in the thought of being compelled to accept the absurd notion that he will get infinite punishment for finite deeds or infinite reward for finite actions. At the heart of Christianity's insulting appeals to force is the fact that it has no other concrete way to prove its claims are real, since faith claims are by definition an abnegation of reason. There is no tangible support or referral to reality for God belief or Christian claims to the supernatural. If there were, it would not require faith. And as so often said, when one cannot convince another by logic, threats and use of force are often likely to follow as a substitute for substantive and relative validation and proof of what you wish others to believe or be convinced of. As mankind has proven so many times, it is too great and sophisticated to be kept under the purview of fear for long. Yet why would man, who has so often risen up to break the shackles of mental terror, allow himself to be insulted by Christianity's deployment of fear in its doctrines? Christianity, by way of its biblical scriptures, freely admits its entire epistemology is constructed on the believer's fear. Why is man being insulted by the need to believe in something that requires fear of it to know of it? The greatness of mankind, as shown in it being the only species we know of to put satellites into space, which is an astounding mathematical and engineering achievement beyond measure, does not deserve to have a religion that wants it to be afraid. That is an abject slap in the face to humanity. The Bible, through its own scriptures, confirms that if Christianity and its God were true, the universe and everything that subsists within would be analogous to a cartoon, where this God would be able to do whatever pleased him, like a cartoonist is able to draw and manipulate his animations in whatever way that pleases him. The insulting result of such a state would mean mankind would be nothing more than puppets in the Judeo Christian God's cartoon universe, where he would be able to violate the laws of logic through the use of miracles to walk on water, create a human with 16 legs, make the earth have 19 moons, create flowers that speak German, make a volcano appear right in the middle of a city, or turn water into wine. If the astounding 1.9 billion believers in Christianity were right and their God were real, human lives would be meaningless, since his suffocating omnipotence would abnegate our free will and self-determination. Ephesians 1:11 and Colossians 1:16 through 17 confirm this insulting and fatalistic theist reality. People often ask, why would atheists bother to disprove God or try to change what others believe? If Christianity were true, by the Bible's own implication, we will be caricatures in their God's cartoon universe, here only by his wishful whims and selfish pleasure. That's more than enough reason to try and falsify such an insult to mankind. This is Venom Fang X. He is currently the most popular Christian proselytizer on YouTube. He openly espouses one of the most horrendous insults that Christianity has a knack for impregnating man with, and that is the knack of imbibing man with the notion that he is a sinner in need of salvation, that man is morally corrupt simply by virtue of his existence, and that we should eternally acquiesce our independent sovereignty and assume a position of inferiority before a magical being said to be our only way to redemption, as if humanity were inherently no good. Let's hear this insulting outlook in his own words.
So, why doesn't God heal amputees? Because they don't deserve their arms. We deserve to die. That's what the Bible teaches. Sorry if you don't like that. Because they don't deserve their arms. We deserve to die. That's what the Bible teaches.
God is morally perfect, so if God was to destroy everything that he saw as sinful or evil, that would include you, and myself, for sure, no question.
Unless you think he is unique in treating mankind this way through Christianity, here is another very active Christian on YouTube named MidKiller2, who wrote the same sentiment. In case you can't see what he wrote clearly, I'll read it aloud. So yes, Dorpatan, we need an outside force to control ourselves. Man is clearly a depraved creature. It is an abject insult to mankind to believe in a religion and a God that thinks of us in such a horribly negative light. We're not being sinners, we're being human, and there's nothing inherently wrong with that.
I would say about the things that put me through, the pain I've been subjected to, but the Lord himself, oh, would blush. The countless feasts laid at my feet, forbidden fruits for me to eat, but I think your pulse would start to rush.
Christianity expects us to carry a burden of guilt. Even worse, it expects humanity to shoulder the burden of unearned guilt inherited from the original quote-unquote sinners, Adam and Eve. It is an insult to mankind not only to feel obligated to be guilty, but for billions of people to feel and shoulder remorse for the supposed deeds of the first two. This unearned guilt causes a need for unearned redemption, which comes in the form of salvation doctrines. This often leads to negation of the self, as man is compelled through Christianity to sacrifice and surrender his volition in the expectation of a selfish and disproportionate reward of an eternal afterlife. Mankind doesn't deserve to follow a religion that requires him to constantly seek forgiveness. After all, sometimes absolution has its price.
Now I'm not looking for absolution, forgiveness for the things